Whether we believe in ghosts or not, we've all heard scary stories, and hold on tight because the ones I'm going to tell you today are terrifying, because the world of cinema is no exception to paranormal experiences and really strange coincidences. Unexplained deaths of actors, mysterious incidents, and the presence of spirits on the set. Make sure your front door is locked, turn off the lights, and curl up into your sofa because I've compiled the scariest anecdotes about those cursed films that perhaps should have never been made. The third is my personal favorite, but tell me yours in the comments below. The Exorcist, released in 1973, is one of the most profitable films in history. Upon its release, it was quickly recognized as the most terrifying film of all time. The plot: a young girl finds herself possessed by a demon and begins to behave increasingly creepy ways until a priest finally exorcises her. The lead role will be played by 13-year-old Linda Blair, but casting for The Exorcist got off to a very bad start. The first actress that accepted the role of the little girl fell ill with a really bad infection, and the cast received 500 applications, but either they weren't up for the job or they were just really scared of the story. And they weren't wrong, honestly. Shooting had already been postponed because of a mysterious fire that was really unknown and destroyed all of the sets except for the famous room where the possessed girl sleeps. On top of that, the director is downright creepy. He wanted a refrigerated set so that we can see the actor's breath to make the whole thing even more cheerful. The possessed teenager's noises are screams of pigs being slaughtered.
Let the enemy have no power over them.
And her voice is that of a former alcoholic actress who had taken up drinking again for the occasion in order to sound as hoarse as possible. What? And the worst thing you can imagine on a film set, to capture the fear as naturally as possible on the actors' faces, the director uses a gun. Well, he goes around with his gun like this and aims, and then he shoots blanks without even warning to startle everyone. But the worst is yet to come. A series of tragic deaths surround this film. First of all, a certain Paul Bateson, one of the extras in the film, he plays a radiology technician, which was actually his real job in real life, by the way, in a scene where the little girl is being observed in a hospital. After the film, Paul finds himself accused and arrested for murder. We discover that he is, in fact, a serial killer. This won't be the only morbid story surrounding The Exorcist. Actors actually died on set. Jack McGowan loses his life while filming an epidemic, as well as Vasiliki Malairos, and a night watchman also died during filming. But The Exorcist's curse doesn't stop there. Some actors lose family members while filming. An actress loses her grandfather, Max Sitto loses his brother, Jason Miller loses his son, and asks the director to come and film him at his moment to have a real scene of authentic sadness. As in the film, we see him laminating the death of his mother. A cameraman also loses his son. Whew. Still here? Well, I'd advise you not to listen to the next story if you want an ounce of sleep tonight. And if you are listening, are you sure that your doors are still locked? Because now we're talking about The Poltergeist, which is perhaps the most cursed movie of all time. But what is a poltergeist? From the German words to make a noise and spirit, a poltergeist is a paranormal phenomenon involving noises or moving, disappearing objects. And it's considered a minor haunting operated by a young spirit. And I would rather not imagine what a big haunting is, because these images are just terrifying. In any case, these stories won't leave a certain Steven Spielberg unmoved. He came up with a scenario about a family living in a house where terrifying events take place. The film was shot in 1981, and the use of a real human bone for one of the scenes could have put a curse in the film. Indeed. On the set, 10-year-old Oliver Robbins was nearly strangled by a puppet whose cables were set too tightly in the scene. A few months after its release, actress Dominique Dunne, who plays Dana, was later murdered by her partner a few days before her 23rd birthday. And the scariest part is the method he used. He strangled her, just like the puppet on the set. A few months earlier, he played the Poltergeist soundtrack at full volume to muffle her screams. It's absolutely terrifying. In 1985, after the shooting of the second part of the saga, actor Julian Beck, who plays the recovered Henry Kane, died of cancer. Then, just after the film's release, actor Will Sampson died following an operation. Sampson was a member of the Creek tribe and a shaman who had performed an exorcism on the set at the request of the crew, terrified of shooting with the real human bones. You can imagine the atmosphere here, and the team would still go on to shoot a third movie for the Poltergeist saga, and mysterious deaths keep happening. Actress Heather O'Rourke, age 12, dies of a septic shock following an operation that was supposed to treat a disease she had been misdiagnosed with. The likelihood of a misdiagnosis of leading to an operation that fails is quite unusual. Between 1981 and 1988, the period of the 3 Poltergeist films, there were 5 victims, including 4 deaths. It's absolutely terrifying. So curse or simple coincidence? I'll let you tell me in the comments. Terrifying? Wait until you hear the next story. I'll tell you the story of Autuk. For this one, please note that the scale of drama was such that the film was never even made. Autuk was originally a book, the story of an Inuit man lost in Toronto. The story appealed to producer Norwin Jewson, who wanted to turn it into a film. Once the script was written, the first actor who was chosen for the role actually died of an overdose before shooting could even begin. Then a second actor was chosen to replace him, but he too died of an overdose before shooting could even begin. A third actor accepted the role, brave guy, managed to start shooting but never finished. He ended up dying in a car accident in California. And that's not all. As a fourth actor who had read the script but turned it down before shooting, he shortly after died. It's as if reading the script causes death. So a cursed script, simple coincidence? Another person who wasn't up for the role but had read the script out of curiosity was also murdered sometime later. How crazy! I mean, how terrifying. And you'd be crazy enough to read it? If this film has never been made, hang on. Because the next one does exist, even if a series of tragic events has been befallen on it. In this 1976 film, an orphan with obscure origins is adopted by a family at the age of 5. His adoption triggers tragic and strange deaths, and it all begins with a shocking twist. Just before filming begins, the son of Gregory Peck, the lead actor playing the boy's father, commits suicide. And that's just the beginning of this drama. The film lives up to its name. The shoot is riddled with events, each one creepier than the last. First of all, a restaurant where the crew is planning to have dinner is the target of a bomb attack. It's as if someone was really trying to make them not make the movie at all. Then 2 planes are struck by lightning. The lead actor, Gregory Peck, and the producer. The probability of being struck by lightning is 1 in 1 million. Oh, and then they escaped another plane disaster. The crew was supposed to take a small plane that was finally assigned to another client. And in their misfortune, they were lucky as the plane collided with a flock of birds, forcing them to make an emergency landing. A landing that was very fatal for its passengers and a 6-passenger car. Apart from these plane stories, we also have other issues. A Rottweiler turns on his master and attacks him. After a sequence shot in the animal park, one of the tigers killed off of a guard. And finally, we come to the most terrifying coincidence in my opinion. A visual effects technician who had been supervising a decapitation scene was involved in a serious road accident. He survived, but his companion did not and was decapitated. And the accident happened just outside of Omen, just like the title of the absolutely frightening film, Omen. Ugh. The Passion of the Christ, directed by Mel Gibson, this much criticized film traces the last hours of Jesus Christ. And already on the casting front, we have some downright strange coincidences. Lead actor Jim Caviezel, who plays Jesus Christ, has the same initials and age 33 as Jesus Christ when he died. Mary's actress last name, which is Morgenstern, which means morning star in German, a nickname which was also given to the Virgin Mary. She discovered she was pregnant in the 4th month of filming. Did you find this strange? Well, you're not ready for the rest. Okay, so during filming, Jan Michelini, the assistant director, was struck by lightning twice, and a few minutes later, actor Jim Caviezel was also struck. Let me remind you that the probability of being struck by lightning is 1 in 1 million. Imagine the probability of this happening 3 times to the same film crew. It clearly looks like God's lightning is striking in this film. Added to this were several major problems. Mel Gibson declared, filming was pretty painful. Everyone got sick. Jim Caviezel dislocated his shoulder on the cross and even received lashes during the scourging scene. Everyone suffered more or less during the shoot. Oh, and the lead actor, in addition to the whippings, dislocated shoulder, and lightning strike, also contracted pneumonia and several migraines. But that's anecdotal at this stage. The real miracle is that he survived this film. Are you still here? If so, you are brave! Making this video really freaked me out, and I hesitated to tell you about more recent stories, such as the 2005 Amityville, where the crew recounted mysteriously waking up every single night at 3:15 a.m., the time of the real massacre. The Conjuring, where the lead actress told she found scratch marks all over her body. But personally, I'm wondering whether these recent films aren't inspired by the dramas of the old cursed films to create even more communication and attract audiences. So tell me, what do you think? Above all, which story will keep you awake tonight?